Hello, and welcome again to Cherry Hive Blossoming Confidence for Business Women. Lovely to see you all. Now, this is my evening in Australia, and I'm doing a Facebook Live today with Helen and Pam, who are coming on to talk about menopause. A hot topic. It's something every woman needs to know about. It's something a lot of women struggle with. And you know, they make it their business to help you with the menopause if that's something that you want help with. I'm inviting fellas onto this as well, and you might think, why do I need to know about that? Well, the fact is, if you live with a lady of an age or even a young age, because menopause can happen at a very young age, if you are living with a lady who has symptoms of the menopause, I can imagine it can be pretty difficult for you as a fella. So, and Helen is nodding her head there. Oh, yes. Oh, Pam. Oh, yes. They know all about what they need to know in terms of helping people with menopause issues. So if you're a fella, if you're a lady, whatever you might be, this will be great for you if you want to know something about it. Already, we've got some awesome guests coming into the viewing box. Welcome all. You know, please do ask your questions as we go along, because this is an opportunity. You're not going to get many opportunities like this to ask people like this, Pam and Helen, you know, the kind of questions that they know a lot about. So between us all, I'm sure we'll be able to answer your questions. But if we can't, no worries, because you can always pop a question down below and they can answer and come back and answer that some other time, because they're viewing it on their profiles, pages, etc. as well. So I'm going to bring them into the show right now. So welcome to both Helen, first off, and welcome to Pam. Come on in.
Morning. Well, evening.
Wherever you are, UK time morning.
So can we all hear each other? Is that all good?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear both of you.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. That's a really good start. That's a fantastic start. So I've got to be honest, I've never done a chat show before on here, and I'm always game for something new. And I was just
pushing the boundaries.
Absolutely. And I was just telling the ladies, actually, that I've been so excited about this show. Not necessarily because I'm yet of an age where I'm going to experience symptoms, but I need to know about these things as time goes on. But also, I'm just so excited to have other ladies on here talking in a chat show environment about things they know a lot about. I'm so excited. So let's start. Helen, do you want to introduce yourself, about who you are and what you do? That'd be awesome.
I'm Helen Breward. I started off with running Pebbles Hypnotherapy, and I don't mean this sort of flippantly, but I was just doing hypnotherapy. I was just a hypnotherapist, and I don't mean that sort of like I said, flippantly, because being just a hypnotherapist is huge work in itself and absolutely fantastic. But I started off life doing that, and then sort of, you know, I kind of found ambition somewhere along the line. I don't even know how that happened. And I ended up writing a program about the menopause to help ladies with the menopause, because I went through it myself. Mm-hmm. I was thrown straight into menopause with hysterectomy. So that kind of focuses the mind on what it is that you've got coming. And that's how the actual menopause program came about. So I then ended up training other therapists like Pam to use the program to help their clients. And then a friend of mine, Sheila Granger, said, well, you know, you need to write the book now, don't you, Helen? I went, oh, okay. So I wrote the book. That's the book that I wrote that came out in May.
Yeah, just hold it up a bit more, because I don't think we saw the bottom of it. Has it got anything at the bottom?
It does. That way. Yeah.
How to take control of menopause and live life your way. Awesome.
It's full. It's like the program. It's full of hints and tips and lots of different stories, different ways to view things, because, you know, kind of with hypnosis, what we do is to tell people stories. We give them metaphors, different ways of looking at things to gain different understanding and different perspective. So it's full of those kinds of things. Each chapter is full of metaphors and stories, hints, tips, tools that you can do, activities, that kind of thing. It's a self-help book. It is kind of, because when I was interviewed by the local press a couple of weeks ago, they said, "Oh, well, it's your story," and I'm thinking, that's not how I meant it to be. But when I sort of look back at it, I think part of it is my story, but it's sort of embellished.
Sure. Yeah.
Artistic license, I think, is the phrase.
Well, you know what? You've got to start somewhere. And I think by starting with your own story, it enables you to completely empathise with other people's stories.
Yeah. It's funny. I was having lunch with a friend of mine a few weeks back, and we were sat in her restaurant, and we were chatting about the book, and she said, "Oh, hang on a second, Helen." She said, "I've got somebody that I want to meet you." So she brought over one of her waitresses, and she said, "This is Helen. She's the one that's written the book. There's the book. I think you need to read it." And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed." And she's flipping through, and she's going, "Oh, that's me. That's me. You know me. This is just me." And I'm going, "Okay, that's really cool." And then she's flipping through a bit more, and she goes, "Yeah, I really get that. That is just me. That I do understand that. Yes." And I was like, "Oh my God, this is really cool."
That's so funny. It really is. That's awesome. Well, we'll come back. We'll just bring Pam in on the show, and then we can introduce Pam too. So let's show Pam too. How do we show Pam? Okay, hang on a sec.
You got me?
As I said, I'm still very new to this. There we go. Hey, Pam.
Hi, hey, how are you?
Awesome.
Karen?
So, yeah, awesome. Thanks for coming on board. It's awesome to see you too.
I want to thank both you and Helen for saying yes to sharing. You know, it was just like, it's one of those moments where it came up. It said, "This is what's good," and I just went, "Yes," and I'll figure it out later. So
Absolutely.
Good for you. Good for you. It's awesome to have you on here. It really is. So, what's your story, Pam? What do you do, and where are you, and where do you do that?
Yeah, so I started out as a coach in the corporate world, running my own coaching company, NLP, and as part of that, there's a day of hypnotherapy, and I absolutely loved it. And I qualified as a hypnotherapist about 4 years ago. And right from the start, I knew I wanted to niche. And as Helen said, quite rightly, there is a raft of areas where hypnotherapy does some real good breakthroughs for people, gets great results, you know, and there's you know, we're finding even now things that hypnotherapy can, you know, address. But I knew it's that thing of, I knew what I wanted to niche, but I didn't know what I wanted to niche. That old coaching question of, well, what do you want?
Yes.
And I think as I was talking to you before we came live, it was, so within the UK, we have to do so many hours of continual personal development in a year. And I'd already set my personal development for the year, but then one of them cancelled. So I was looking through the email that we get, and then suddenly I saw Helen's course come up, Menopause Practitioner, and it was almost like a slap in my face, because I'd been thrown into menopause myself early at 38, and I have to say I probably could tick off all 34 symptoms that have been listed. I probably went through all of them.
Wow.
You know, and unfortunately, as we're discovering, you know, you either get a lot of help or no help or something in between. But it was literally like a slap in the face to go, oh my God, I know exactly what I want to niche. So booked on to Helen. I think it was quite last minute, Helen. I think you were running in the October, and I think I kind of booked on last minute. And I went down to her in Swindon, which is about an hour and a half drive for me. A brilliant day. Really great group. That's right, wasn't it? And I came away and I was fired up with so much. I was thinking, I know exactly what I want to do. So I changed my business, and I now manage a business called Changes Ahead.
Okay, awesome.
And I incorporate, hypnotherapy and coaching and really finding out new things every single day as we go along, because no one woman has the same experience of a menopause at all. And certainly there are elements to it, and I'm nodding as Helen was saying, you know, the waitress that, oh yeah, that's me, you're talking to me, and there's elements of it, but then suddenly you might think, oh, hang on a minute, something else has happened. Oh, is that menopause? And you just think, oh my God, you know, so like social anxiety, I found myself for another Saturday night on a row turning down an invite to go out with the girls, and I'm sitting there with the cat on my lap and thinking, hang on, how did I turn into this social recluse? And social anxiety is kind of one of those anomalies. So it's like, it was a personal experience, and yes, I found my niche, and I absolutely love what I do, and
awesome.
The women that come to me. So,
So we better kind of introduce what menopause is, right? Because to make sure that everyone, because I know there's some people watching who really have tuned in because they are wanting to know more about perhaps hypnotherapy, or perhaps menopause symptoms and how they can manage them better. And certainly when this goes out on our broadcasts afterwards, it's something that, you know, people can refer to. So, you know, between you, what are the main? I know there are a lot of idiosyncrasies in terms of what people present to you with, and it can even, I guess, differ even within one client over a number of sessions. They may develop certain different symptoms, I guess. What do you reckon are the most common symptoms that you guys see women coming to see you for in your practices?
For me, and it's probably going to be different with Pam as well, because everybody, like you say, everybody is different. I think the main ones that I see are hot flushes and night sweats, and I know Sheila, one of the ladies online, has mentioned about the night sweats. Those tend to be the most common symptom, because they are the most, well, arguably they're the most disruptive, because it quite often the night sweats disturb your sleep.
Okay.
If that disturbs your sleep, it affects the rest. It affects everything else. As you know, when you suffer with stress and anxiety, if it disturbs your sleep, and that has a huge knock-on effect. This is the same thing. So it's about learning how to control those night sweats or those hot flushes, and to reduce them and reduce the effects that they have. One of the other symptoms that I quite often see sometimes is a bit of anxiety. Now, quite often that is around, what if I have a hot flush while I'm out and I can't get out of the room or the shop that I'm in? Those tend to be the most common symptoms that I get. That being said, stress is more often than not one of the huge fuels of those symptoms. So quite often it's sorting out the stress as well as sort of helping to control those hot flushes. So it is a bit of a cycle, and it's sort of, as we do with all hypnosis, whatever it is that we're dealing with, there's usually more than one thing going on, and it's sort of like chipping away at it in different bits all the way around to make a bigger difference.
It's kind of finding, like, trying to decipher what's the kind of the symptom and the cause, isn't it?
Fuel.
And what's causing what, and it can be a vicious cycle, can't it? Because certain things that were antecedents can become consequences, and that kind of thing.
And sometimes one perpetuates the other, and as you say, it's a circle that that the lady may find, oh my God, I can't ever get out of this. When is this ever going to end? So certainly for me, like Helen, hot flushes and night sweats, simply because that is something that is an immediate response. Anxiety, because that can be perpetuated by those thoughts of, oh my God, I've got to give this big presentation, and what if this happens? You know, and for me, it's actually weight gain as well. People, you know, oh my God, I used to be able to go to the gym, and now suddenly I haven't changed anything, but I have no shape to my waist. What's happening?
And that affects kind of body image, self-esteem issues, confidence issues, and that sort of thing.
Which perpetuates the anxiety, and that circle, that that wheel that just continues.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really great that we've kind of summed up some of the major, because there are a lot more, I'm sure, but they are the ones that tend to be presented to you guys more often than not. Let's look at what we do with them then. What do we do with ladies who are having night sweats and hot flushes and social anxiety and confidence issues? Because they are embarrassed about potentially being in a situation that they can't escape from and start to panic, and then that feeds into that panic cycle and not getting to sleep and all that stuff.
Yeah, one of the things that women probably do need to do more often, especially those that are working, is to talk about it more openly with the people they work with, because it's kind of like educating the people that you're with as well, because once they know how it's affecting you and your kind of symptoms, then they can make adjustments to help you with that. It's like if you do a lot of meetings, I deal with quite a lot of business women who are in meetings. Now, being in an enclosed room for some people is a bit of a trigger. It can be for me sometimes, but not very often, but it can be. So making sure that you've either got a door ajar or a window open can make a big difference. And it can be simple things like that that make huge changes with. The night sweats, somebody else, a lady I was dealing with a while ago, absolutely lovely, lovely lady. And she kept saying, I've got really bad night sweats. So one of the big things that you need to do is to know what your triggers are, because a lot of your hot flushes will be triggered. Things like two hot things together, for instance, like a hot cup of tea and a hot meal. That's a simple one. All you need to do is just change the hot drink for either a cold one or have your drink later after you finish your meal. Okay? Awesome. So some of them are quite simple. One of the other big triggers is alcohol, which doesn't go down
We get and I get the same reaction when you mentioned alcohol. Do you think that alcohol might be a trigger? And they go, no, please.
No.
I'm telling you, Helen, it's not a trigger.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, I bet it is.
Yeah, exactly. But, what I say to my women is, if it is, we're not saying you have to give it up. But if you know that is your trigger and you want that glass of wine or whatever it is that is the alcohol that triggers, you do it with the knowledge of what the consequence will be. So it comes back to you then getting back control of who you are as a woman. Curries is also, spicy foods.
Yes.
Not the Friday night curry. It's like, no, that's absolutely fine. We're not saying give up, but knowledge. Taking back control of your own.
That's so true, and I think the thing about that is you're trying to eliminate and figure out what it is, particularly for that particular lady. What is doing the worst damage? What is causing the worst effects for them? What's their symptoms? What's exacerbating the symptoms, aren't you? And you're trying to eliminate and try to figure out what's causing the worst bother. And just maybe once you know it, like you say, you're empowered. You've got the knowledge then to know. Well, if I do it in the knowledge that I'm harming myself potentially, But if I do it and I reduce it and I see a difference, then I'm empowered to feel confident that I've done something for myself about this, aren't I?
Yeah. And it is about giving women that feeling of empowerment again. And I tell you, I had one of my clients actually taught me something not so long ago. And when I'd say alcohol, I mean anything that's alcoholic, no matter how mild it is or how strong it is, that's alcohol to me. Obviously, it's not the same for everybody, because I'd said to her about alcohol and she'd said, no, I don't drink alcohol. No, I don't. Still having that really bad hot flush in the middle of the night. Like, okay. And after about, I think it was on about session 4, she came in and she said, oh my God, I've suddenly discovered what's causing that hot flush. I thought, this is going to be interesting. I said, what's that then? And she said, well, I have a shandy every night. And to her, that was alcohol, but it is alcohol.
Of course.
It's only something very mild, but it was enough to trigger. As soon as she stopped drinking that one disappeared. The one that was causing her all the trouble disappeared.
Interesting.
But it's different perspective, isn't it? To me, alcohol is a glass of wine, anything. Shandy is alcohol, but not necessarily to everybody.
That's so true.
That served as a good reminder for me, actually, to be fair. But it was so funny the way she went, oh my God, I've discovered what it is.
But that's nice, isn't it? It's nice when they come up with their own, when we all come up with our own solutions to things. It is that kind of light bulb moment of, and then it's mine, I own it, and I can do something about it, you know?
Because then they make the choice. If they have that glass of wine, that drink, whatever it is, they know that a disturbed night could be the consequence of that action.
Yes,
but it's absolutely. The fact that they are making the choice informed, rather than, as Pam said, rather than drinking it and not knowing, they know that that's what could happen. So it's all about control and power, isn't it? You take back the power.
Yeah.
Because as women, we're so used to rushing around, making sure everyone else is okay. The children, the husband, the partner, the dog, the parents. We're last on the list.
Yes.
And now's the time for us to go, hang on a minute, I need to do something for myself, even if it's just something small. I mean, I had a client recently, she came to me for weight gain, and she didn't realise she was going through the menopause until after we'd done the first initial kind of consultation. And like Helen, she was like, no, I eat perfectly cleanly. I play tennis, said I'm really active. Said constantly, she said, I'm coming out the shower, hot sweats, and none of my clothes fit me. So we were talking through, and actually we ended up. She said, "Oh, I'll come and show you what's happening." So we kind of went up into her bedroom, and I was just sat on the end of the bed, and we were chatting. Said, "This is what happened." She said, "I come out of the shower." Said, "I try on something that I want to wear that day." Said, "It never fits, so I have to pull it off, try something else, and then the hot sweat starting." And it's like, right, okay. Well, do you think actually that probably at that time your stress levels are coming up a little bit?
Yeah.
You're already stressed because of your weight gain. And she's like, oh, right, okay, yeah, fine. So she said, yeah, but I've got all these clothes. She said, I can't fit into. She said, but there are days when I can. And we were talking, and she said, what if I sorted my wardrobe out? She said, so that I have my fat day clothes. That's what she calls it. That was her outlook.
Yeah,
and then also the clothes that I know when I can fit them. So she actually sorted a whole wardrobe out.
Yeah, awesome.
And she texted me back, a couple of days later, and she was going out with her husband. She went, Pam, she said it worked. She said, I knew in my body I wasn't feeling particularly slim, petite, etc. So I avoided the side of the wardrobe that were my thin day clothes. I went to the other side, said, and I picked out a dress, put it on, walked down the stairs, and my husband said, oh, you look beautiful. She said, I felt happy.
Oh, nice.
And it was just awesome. Something so small. So
yeah. I just want to say hello to Roger. Hello, Roger. Awesome to see you.
Hi,
I invited fellas to this show, and you are the only one that's come on board. So I'm really pleased. I am really pleased at that. I don't know if you've come on board because you just want to come and have a chat with us, or whether you come on board because you are experiencing something somewhere to do with the menopause with your lovely lady. Either way, it's great to have you on board. I hope you're well. But do ask any questions, anybody. If you've got any questions of Pam and Helen, do ask.
Sheila says she's going to have to cut out a bottle of shampoos.
Oh, we've got to share that one, eh? Yeah, she did.
It may not be your trigger, but I'm guessing it might be. You might find a different one that works, that you can drink that actually doesn't set it off. I know some people do.
Yeah, well, she did disclose that champagne and strawberries are the thing for her. Strawberries, I guess.
Right. I remember seeing that. It was a couple of days ago, wasn't it?
I don't think strawberries would cause any problem, but maybe the shampoos could be something to look into.
Now, you see, in my mind, the strawberries are good for you. There's quite a lot of nutrients in berries, and strawberries in particular, that will help support the menopause. So in my mind, one cancels the other one out. I don't know whether it actually works that way. That's how I justify it to myself.
Oh, that's awesome. So we touched on something there which was interesting, Pam, because you were saying that one of your ladies, she came for weight loss, but wasn't really that sure. She wasn't even it wasn't on the radar even that that she could possibly be even experiencing menopause. And maybe that's the thing, is that a lot of us don't even contemplate it until it happens, and suddenly we're kind of in the thick of it, and we don't know what the heck is going on. And so how wouldn't people kind of know? Is there a difference between getting hot and having a hot flush, or being hot at night because it's so warm and having a night sweat? Are there other differences that people can really see that, goodness, I'm hitting that point?
Well, they usually say, so menopause is an event that happens in one day. So menopause is, by the time you've got 12 months without your period, you're menopause. It's the perimenopausal, which starts possibly before 40, so early menopause, which is what I went through, is then when you start seeing the symptoms. You might get increased migraines, or you get hot flushes, but it starts maybe as young as 30, but the 40s going upwards is the range of where you then get all these symptoms. And it's when they say your average is 51, 52, 12 months without a period, that's when you have reached menopause. So wow,
so it potentially goes on for an awful long time, eh?
Yeah, some people are lucky and only have a couple of years, some people longer, and others have no symptoms whatsoever. So it's not inevitable, but obviously we're in the game of helping those ladies that do have the symptoms.
Is there any research, Helen, into why some people experience severe symptoms and some people don't? Like, is there anything out there that suggests why this is? Why some suffer, some don't suffer?
Not that I've actually found. That being said, I haven't actually looked greatly about that. But there's an interesting thing. You find that countries like Japan, China don't actually have a word for the menopause in their vocabulary. Now, my own personal view is that you look at their diet, you look at their lifestyle, and then look at ours in the Western world. And my personal feeling is a lot of our issues with menopause is down to diet related and lifestyle related, in the fact that we rush around so much, doing so many different things. We do have quite a stressful balance, work life, or life in general nowadays, I think. That being said, I don't know what it's like in Japan. My impression is it's a lot more balanced than we are here, and of course they eat a lot more fish and things like that than I suspect most people do here, myself included. So I do kind of feel that a lot of it does come down to diet and lifestyle.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
And then, to be fair, they are big triggers with menopause and hot flushes and symptoms. So I think it comes down to making tweaks to your lifestyle, making those little changes that you can live with.
And what about the cognitive kind of state that women are in when they are going through this? I think we mentioned earlier that catastrophizing of thinking things are much worse or going to be much more terrible than what they are. Do you think that makes a great big difference on how people do or don't cope with those symptoms?
Well, yes, I do actually, because the thing is, you only ever hear the really bad stories, don't you? You don't always hear the really good ones. You hear all the really dramatic stuff, because when you're telling a story, it sounds better, doesn't it? My husband always says, "Why let the truth get in the way of a good story?" And that's in relation to other things, but when you get people retelling things, it always gets better. It's like when my dad goes fishing, he says, "Oh, I've caught a fish." It's big. And then by the time at the end of the day, it's that big, And I'm not saying people say that their stories are really bad and then embellish them, but what I'm saying is that you tend to hear about the really bad cases.
Yes.
But a lot of it is down to your mindset. The more you are feeling really positive, really uplifted, really empowered, the better you will be. The more
Sure.
negative, the more, I was going to say miserable, I can't think of another word actually, the more the more downtrodden, I suppose, that you feel.
Or depressed. People get depressed, I'm sure, with these symptoms, get seriously depressed with them.
The worse I feel that your symptoms usually are.
Yeah.
Because in fact, in all reality, sometimes they are not actually that bad. We just think that they are 10 times worse, or we feel that they're 10 times worse, when actually, when people get a slightly different perspective and they feel calmer in themselves, then they realize that actually their symptoms are not as bad as they thought they were. So it does all come down to perspective and your own mental attitude, which is where the hypnosis helps hugely. But of course, Pam and I and all the other practitioners teach clients how to, use different techniques, use different tools to cool those hot flushes down that they have, and to help them with their mindset. Because like we said, it is about mindset. Helping women to get that sense of empowerment back, because sometimes you can kind of feel like it's being done to you. You have no control.
Absolutely.
And it's not the case.
Have you got any quick little tools or like tools that you can, like a visualization tool or something that you can share with our ladies and gents today? Something that you get your ladies to do to enable them to cool down or to manage the condition better.
Okay. Do you want to do that, Pam?
Yeah, can do. Yes. So I always start, and I always remember this from Helen's training, is teaching them how to breathe properly. That's the very first thing I always get them to do. And I've continued that. I've done workshops as well with people, and that's the first thing I always do, and we repeat it through the day. Because when you're stressed, you probably find that you're breathing at the very top of your body, from your neck probably down to your breastbones. Okay, but actually your lungs go all the way down to your diaphragm. So what you're not doing is filling your lungs up and purposefully breathing in and out. So I certainly teach my ladies hands on at the bottom of your belly, and you're literally imagining blowing a balloon up and blowing it up and then deflating it, and then doing that slowly and doing a count, blowing it up in 8 and bringing it down in 16. And if you are a lady who particularly gets stressed or gets anxious, that's quite a good one that they can then take that away and practice and use for themselves.
That's awesome, because that's lovely and empowering, isn't it? It's lovely that you can bring your breathing back under your own control, and actually it makes you feel better, makes you feel more relaxed, doesn't it?
One of the other things that I do sometimes is get them to breathe in that lovely cool air and then breathe out that unwanted warmth, that extra warmth. And sometimes just that little thing on its own without anything else can be enough just to stop that feeling of being flustered or stressed, or that extra warmth, that hot flush that's coming on. But the timing is key with that. You need to do it as soon as you spot that hot flush is starting. So you get a little bit of a warning beforehand, and that's when you do those tools, because it's easier to nip something in the bud rather than to wait until it's in full blossom and then try and bring it down again. It's like stress, isn't it?
Yeah.
Once you notice you're starting to get stressed, you need to nip it in the bud then, because once you're in full blown mode, it's very difficult.
It's hard to bring yourself back down again, isn't it? Back in control. That's awesome. That's awesome, ladies. I think I've covered. Is there anything else you can kind of comment on in terms of menopause? Anything else you thought would be useful to talk about today?
I think for me, I think, and this goes back to a point really for working women. So I did a survey with my clients for all those that were working, and it was quite astonishing the results that came back, that women didn't feel confident enough to talk to their supervisors, managers, to talk about what they were going through. they felt they had no option but to leave. They didn't want to be stigmatized as ageism or ageist or an older woman, and I think that's quite sad. I'm in my 50s now, and I can imagine. I mean, we're living longer, we're working longer. It's not an illness or a disease. This is a part of our life. It's another natural cycle of our life. And I think if the more that we can actually talk about this, then, I think, what am I trying to say? I think the more we can talk about this and get this out in the open, then more women would feel less stigmatized and not feel they have to hide away and suffer.
Yeah, it's a kind of a cultural thing, isn't it? It's a sense that I've got to hide this thing because, like you say, what are the repercussions if I talk about being of a certain age now, and what will people think about me, and what will people say about me, and it all comes back to that self-esteem type confidence stuff, doesn't it? In terms of feeling good and talking about it and saying, look, this is me, this is how it is. It's a natural bodily process that most women go through at some point in time. Let's openly discuss it and celebrate it. Indeed, in fact, of being of a certain age. Why not?
There is more of a growing movement, if you like, now about supporting women in the workplace, about the workplace actually taking responsibility to provide support for women going through the menopause in the workplace. Because there's about a third of women now in the workplace are going through the menopause, and that actually comes out to be a huge chunk of the workforce here in England anyway. And I know there's a big movement in Australia as well, about giving those women more support while they're at work so they can stay at work, because it costs a huge thousands if they lose somebody. They lose a woman from the workplace, it costs them thousands to replace her. And of course, if she goes, she takes all that knowledge, that skill set, everything that she's learned goes with, so it's becoming a big problem more and more rapidly.
Absolutely. It's a political issue, isn't it? It's a political issue, a social issue. Yeah, it really is. So it needs addressing. So I'm glad we talked about it today. I really am, and I'm sure I think we should have more talks about this. I really do. So that's the end of the menopause part of it. I do want you ladies to stick around though, because I want to ask you about using Facebook Live and your experience of it. So if anyone doesn't want to listen to this, but this is about Cherry Hive Blossoming Confidence for Business Women, and how women in business can actually use tools like this, technology, to get out to the people, to get out to more people, to talk to a bigger audience, and to get more engagement on the topic that they work with and that's important to them. So thanks everyone else for joining us. If you don't want to stay on, that's absolutely super fine, but do add your questions at the bottom for Helen and Pam. And I am also going to put the links to their work, to Helen's book. Pam and Helen both do training that you can access. Is your trainings both online, or are they physical trainings?
I do both. I'm doing training on Saturday online.
So you do online, but Pam's, yours is just physical right now, is it?
Physical at the minute, yes. That's the
so keep your eyes peeled. Keep your eyes peeled for Pam's coming online. But I'll put the links to all your details anyways at the end. And then, so if women want to contact you and ask you for more information, that's okay, is it? That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Awesome. So change of topic, change of state. Talking about Facebook Live, just for 5 minutes. Have you got the time, ladies?
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm just interested. This is a brand new tool for me. This is a brand new thing for me, doing interviews and chat shows on Facebook, and I'm really enjoying it, and I'm really fascinated by it. And I just wanted to see, because I know you guys both have used Facebook Lives in your businesses to various degrees. What do you reckon? What do you think about it? What do you think about using it?
It's the way forward. I have to say I'm probably not particularly comfortable with it, but I think we kind of have to keep doing it, keep going, and get more and more comfortable with it. because certainly from what I can see on the engagement on Facebook, video, live streaming video, whatever, is the way forward. That's the way they seem to be going. So, you know, but I have to say, I've thoroughly enjoyed today. This is my first time of doing this, you know, more than, you know, just one-on-one. And it's fabulous. It's just like, oh, I'll be interested in this.
It's nice to have people to talk to, because like when you're doing the solos, you kind of feel like you're talking to no one. Sometimes, you know, you're just talking to a computer. I know you get people kind of, you know, coming on and talking and chatting and that, but it often feels like you're talking to an empty space sometimes. So it's nice to have, you know, people to actually discuss and engage and chat with. And it makes it a little bit more fun, I reckon.
Yeah. It's quite hard on your own, and I think Pam's absolutely right. Doing Facebook Live is definitely the way to go. It's just taking that first step. It's getting past that. What if I say something wrong? What if I make a mistake? What if? And in my case, it's always, what if the technology just doesn't play the game? But just practice, you reckon? Just practice makes perfect. Well, I don't even like the word perfect, because I think when you're live for a reason. If you wanted perfect, you'd sit there for hours trying to perfect it on. You know, behind the scenes. If you ask me.
And then you might as well. Engage someone to video that, to do it professionally, so that it's absolutely perfect. You know, rather than going. Right, yes, breathe in deep, go. Hello.
I like this is quick. For me, it's efficient. I could spend hours writing a blog that would have less than the same effect. I could spend hours recording a video, you know, and putting that out somewhere. But do you know what? This is so fast, it's efficient, it's straight to the point. And you know what? A lot of mistakes just go past people anyway. It's not you know, it's kind of the gist. I think it's the gist of what you're doing, which I think people try and get a hold of, rather than hanging on your every word. You know, I think it is the way to go. Actually, I think it's a good way to go.
I think you just have to pull your big girl pants on and get on with it.
You know, we run businesses and people buy from people. And this is the very quickest way, you know, of getting online, just saying, hi, this is me, warts and alls, and you can continue watching me, and that's fabulous. But if you don't, that's okay too, because you've got a stop or a pause button and move on. So
it weren't too many years ago where you would not see very many pictures and photographs on websites, and you wouldn't meet the person until you turned up at the practice or the place of business. And it's nice these days that you can actually build rapport with someone online. They're a three-dimensional figure. They're moving, they're talking, and you can hear, you know, the kind of their personality comes through the video, rather than seeing a kind of two-dimensional image, often with really poor lighting and terrible backgrounds. And you know, it kind of brings it to life a bit more, I think, for people buying from you and feeling more personal, especially our business, because it's a pretty personal business.
It is. It kind of, warts and all, kind of make you, in my perspective, kind of make you more approachable. Because I think sometimes people think that because you're a therapist, you have all the answers, you know everything, and this, that, and the other, and we don't. No. We just know how to deal with certain things, and you know, we have problems as well, you know, and I think it kind of makes you more human.
Absolutely. I can't agree more.
A face on a picture or on a website.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a lot of people out there who are professing to know everything and feel like, you know, got egos as big as you know what. And it's nice that they can sort out the wheat from the chaff, because they actually hear you talk. They see you.
Yes.
And they can choose through informed decisions, rather than turning up and thinking, oh, well, I'm here now, I best just go through with it.
Absolutely. I always invite people to come in and have a free chat with me, because you know what, they might sort of get in and think, there's some, I don't quite click with you. And I think you have to have that feeling that you can work with that person, don't you?
Absolutely.
They kind of get you. They kind of have a handle on what it is that your issue is, and what the root of the problem is.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a big difference. And quite often it's not something you can put your finger on. It's just that feeling you get when you meet somebody, isn't it? You know,
Absolutely.
that, you know, I can work with you.
Do I trust you? Do I believe in you?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, people tell you all kinds of deep and dark secrets. You know, they tell you things quite often that they've never told anybody else. So, you know, that requires a big level of trust. Personally, I think it does.
Absolutely.
And, you know,
I can't agree more.
Tell you those things. It's a huge compliment to the trust that they have in you. So, you know, and they need to know that beforehand, I think.
Yep, I always see it as a privilege. I always see it as a privilege.
Privilege.
Yeah.
To be, you know, in a position where I can facilitate kind of change work, and also to, you know, be given information that, like you say, often the nearest and dearest don't have an opportunity to know about.
Yeah.
It's great to be able to be in that position.
Yeah.
Okay, ladies, I won't hold you up any longer. You've got a whole day ahead of you right now.
Oh yeah,
that's really true.
You're off to bed, aren't you?
Hey, not far off. But it's been stunning talking to you. It's been inspirational, and I'm hoping that a lot of people watching will learn something from this. We should get together sometime soon and talk about another hot topic.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be
really enjoyed talking to you both, ladies.
Yes.
It's quite cool. I like this Facebook Live, actually. I'm warm into this.
We must do more of these and get you into the practice.
Helen, maybe we should try some more in your group, your practitioner
Yes.
group.
Yeah, my only issue with that, I did think about doing that a while ago, is if it's in a secret group, does the video stream just stay in the secret group, or does it spread out to the rest of Facebook? That's my question.
If you do it in the group, it only stays in the group. You can't, even a closed group, you can't share it out anywhere else.
Okay. So if
you can actually. You can where the post is at the top, and it's got the person's name underneath it as the time. And if you click on that time, it brings an URL up at the top in the browser. If you copy that browser and put it in a different, like in your Facebook profile, it will show people. It won't show people, anyone who's not already in the group. They won't see that, but they will see the text inviting them to come and see it if you allow that.
Right. So we can do.
So they can't actually see the video if they're not in your group, but they can be. You can put some text. Say, I think you might really enjoy coming to the group, and they can come and they can ask to be invited to the group.
Right. Oh, we could do that then, Pam.
Yeah,
that means we can get it done quick.
Yeah, hey, I'm excited. You got some great ideas flowing. I love it.
Oh, we always have ideas. No, we've got loads and loads. Mike, you want to be inside my head? I tell you, my head's like a whirling. It's just pulling it all out. I need one of those Harry Potter ones. Just go. And there it is, done.
Oh, lovely ladies. Have a lovely day, and I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks so much.
Thanks both.
Bye.
Bye.